Hi everybody, welcome to the Garage and the Court of Public Opinion. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Pete's here, Gary's here, you're here, and thank you for joining us. In another indication of the power of the podcast comes the news yesterday that the giant CBS Radio Network of America has closed. They have just closed the doors. I'll tell you more about that on Thursday. I'll have a little look into that. But Tuesday, today, Budget Day. Budget's handed down tonight. I don't know why they say budget is handed down tonight when most of it has been leaked already, but we'll get to that in a minute. The Farrier by-election on the weekend has thrown a decisive win for One Nation. Congratulations, Pauline. You're done well. The Libs got a good kicking, and I'm not surprised. We know what Pauline stands for. I don't know what the Liberal Party stands for anymore. It's like the Labour Party in Western Sydney, I reckon. They're trying to walk both sides of the street, and we are not fools. Months ago, Angus Taylor said, "We must change or die." I think he said that on the day he was elected leader. Well, they haven't, which only leaves death, of course. We saw a little of that on the weekend. Immigration was and is a big factor. One Nation is straightforward. We work out how many people we want and from where, with what skills, and how many we can house. Simple. The priorities, well, I like wealth, growth, jobs, and I hope Mecca. I've talked to Pauline about Mecca. Make electricity cheap again. Who wouldn't vote for all of that? Who wouldn't? Our sponsors are Rossdale Homes, by the way, fine South Australian family-owned company, famous for its absolute fixed price guarantee. No nasty surprises, and whether you're a first home builder or a seasoned property developer, you'll love them. Their slogan is, and has been for years, Rossdale Homes, when trust is a must. Politicians could probably learn something from that slogan, couldn't they? Now, remember, only you can change the price. For peace of mind, rossdalehomes.com.au. As I said at the beginning of the show, Budget Day, well, not right now, you understand. It'll be 7 o'clock tonight or thereafter that we all sit in front of our radios or television sets. Well, not all of us, but those of us who have a morbid interest in such matters. We'll watch the budget speech, and then later in the week, the budget in reply. But the bottom line is that the industry, that is Canberra, the bubble, the money-sucking machine, an ATM that is bankrupting the country, working against the interests of every Australian, really. It's about self-interest and fat cats, public servants. Now, I'm not against government spending. I am against government waste and incompetence. Jim Chalmers says that he's managed to find $65 billion. Find? Notice he didn't say save. Where was it, I wonder, when he found it? Well, I tell you what, I could find 10 times that. I tell you, you give me a big red pencil and I'll go through it all and I will save a hell of a lot more than $60 billion. The waste, the indulgence, the patronage, the grants, the jobs for the boys, payments to the trade union movements. They're just a few things. It's a lot of money. It really is disgraceful what goes on. In the budget, I believe there will be a one-off cash splash. That's about popularity, of course. Not means tested, which is stupid. A cash offset for every worker. Well, it's basically everyone is paying tax, I suppose. $300. And this treasurer, confronted with inflation, does not think that that would be inflationary? It's amazing that they can say 300 times that they won't change negative gearing and capital gains tax. And then say, what was the line I heard today? The Prime Minister, you have to do what is right at the time. Look, sorry, when it's a promise, an election promise, which would have influenced people's votes perhaps. You can't change that without a mandate. We will know tonight exactly what sort of people Jim Chalmers and Anthony Albanese really are. If they go back on their word, I will regard them as dishonest, disreputable liars. They simply can't be trusted if they go back on their word. They will take money from the taxpayers of Australia to fund things like the NDIS with its fraud and organised crime, Aboriginal waste, billions and billions there, along with the CFMEU and all their criminal activities without giving it a second thought. You can see their priorities and how it works. They work out just exactly what they want to do. Mind you, they've known that all along. Their socialist philosophy. And then they work out how they're going to sell it to us. Well, listen, fellas, I'm not buying. I don't know about others. You just can't deal with duplicitous people. How in God's name they got re-elected with an increased majority, I don't know. And they talk tonight about spending some political capital. Really? Okay. And this is interesting. Nearly 30% of Labor members of Parliament have at least one trust. Oh yes, they're going to hit trusts as well. One trust. Be interesting to see how they actually do that, because there are so many of them. You know, big ones like the Perpetual Trustee Company, the Public Trustee Company. Anyway, we'll see what they come up with. A family trust, a discretionary trust, you name it, they've got them all. In Labor, all up about 70 members of Parliament, and if you're looking at negative gearing, almost all members of Parliament from every party, all sides of politics, has more than one home. Some, in fact, I checked, have up to 10. 10! Now, the register doesn't tell me whether they're negatively geared or not, but I imagine they are negatively geared with tenants paying off the mortgages. Liberal, Labor, and yes, even the Greens. Now, I don't care if a politician wants to get ahead in life. He or she wants to provide for the family, the future. I don't mind that. But I do mind it when they try to prevent us from doing the same thing. I point out, just for the record, I have no property, no anything, nothing negatively geared. I have no skin in that game. So I'm speaking to you from an honest heart, not self-interest. The Reserve Bank, fighting inflation, which is its job, says interest rates up because it's the only weapon in the arsenal. Wrong. Wrong. Lift temporarily the compulsory super levy paid by us. Not the working, that's the worker, not the employer. Lift it by, say, 1%. This takes money out of circulation, which is exactly what an interest rate hike does. But this way, it's great, because we get the money back later. Or perhaps best of all, make inflation, which is the driver of interest rates going up, make it tax deductible. Right? Simple. Think about it. Governments would immediately curb their spending, which along with their green policies are the big drivers of inflation. And when you think about it, if you've got $50 in your pocket today and it's worth $47 next week, why shouldn't you be able to claim the shortfall? You didn't do it. Your assets are worth less. Tax deductible, think about it. A massive shake-up in British politics. Now, this puts the weekend by-election here in Australia in the shade. You could call it a seismic shift. For 100 years it's been dominated in British politics by two parties, Labor and the Conservative Party. Not anymore. Local elections, I guess we'd probably call them municipal elections, they have demonstrated a massive shift. The Conservatives have gone to Nigel Farage's Reform UK Party, Britain's version of One Nation, by the way. The Labour Party vote has gone to the far left Greens. Well, we can see where they want to live. God bless them. We do live in interesting times, don't we? It all comes from the political parties taking their loyal supporters for granted and assuming that they will always be there. You can see the results of such complacency. Political parties must be able to read the room, have clear and, yes, popular policies, and be able to sell them. Now, this is a very clear case. It's as clear to me as night and day. The Syrian government told the ABC, and to the credit of the ABC, which is very against the government, and they're not usually that, the Syrian government told the ABC that the Australian government was the deciding factor in the departure of the ISIS brides. Direct quote. The official said that the Australian government was responsible and went on to say that they could not leave Syria until the Australian government had, I quote, put procedures in place. Right? Put procedures in place. The government lied. They told us that they had no knowledge or involvement in the travel plans of these people. Clearly, they've been walking both sides of the street. They're trying to keep those Muslim seats in Western Sydney happy while still trying to handle the anger from Middle Australia, which is palpable. Pretty much impossible to do, fellas. I don't think they'll get away with it. I mean, how many lies can a government tell? Particularly with this year's backflip budget. And by the way, the supporters who crowded around the ISIS brides at the airport, you would have seen the television coverage, I guess. I'm assuming that they have no problem with the behaviour of these people and what they're alleged to have done. Are they supporters of all that philosophically, directly or indirectly? The ISIS mission was to kill Jews, Christians, and infidels. That's us. Have they publicly denounced ISIS? I'm talking about the brides. I haven't heard that. Have they denounced the Islamic Revolution? Haven't heard that either. I know they haven't removed the garb, the trappings of Islam, the symbols of Islamic repression, I think. Do they want us to believe that they had a conversion on the road to Damascus as they left Syria? I wonder. Well, they're back in Australia now, and there are probably more waiting in the wings. These people, if they didn't mind joining up with appalling terrorists, associating with appalling people, I don't know exactly how we can treat them. Another question I have is who's paying for the lawyers? I can't imagine that it's legal aid, taxpayer funded legal support. How does that work? The Commonwealth brings charges and then has to defend the people it is accusing at public expense. Unless it is that there are independent backers, financiers, who are going to try and put these people back in the community. I don't know how much time I've got, Pete. It could well be too late for this particular crisis, the fuel crisis I mean, but I want to mention this $10 billion fuel reserve. This is a National Fuel and Resilience Fund. Now that's 1 billion litres, a reserve of diesel and jet fuel, and to me that sounds like a very good idea. Government owned and stored. Why didn't we do that years ago? A better project than the voice referendum, I can tell you that, and probably cheaper. I can also tell you that apparently we thought that it was okay to have 1 month fuel in reserve when we knew that most countries kept 3 months in reserve. And in fact there were some countries that kept 12 months in reserve. Fuel security is incredibly important. Fossil fuel is incredibly important. This government is possibly coming around to understand that. Now, apart from the emergency fuel storage, which, as I say, is a good idea, the reserve will be moved to 50 days instead of 30 days. That's the immediate reserve. But the question I've got to ask is, number one, where are you going to store 1 billion litres of fuel in reserve? And do you understand that fuel goes off after a few months? Anyone who's got an old car, doesn't use it very much, knows that you put fuel in, and if you don't do something like adding fuel to it, using the car, it loses its usefulness. Now, you can't just get $1 billion or 1 billion litres of fuel and store it somewhere in case of an emergency, because that emergency might not happen for 10 years. And then when you look in the tank, it's going to smell awful. I don't think it's going to start anything. I know, I've done that, I've been there. Nobody's thought about asking the government that question. Don't know why. Anyway, happy birthday if you're having a birthday. Happy wedding anniversary. We'll have a lot more to say about the budget on Thursday, which will give me Wednesday to mull over it and have a good look at it. Mind you, it's a whopping great big, well, it's not a financial plan, it's a press release, really, just a big thick thing like that. May 12, ladies and gentlemen. Wireless radio broadcasting is patented by Nathan B. Stubblefield. I didn't know that. Never heard of him. 1908. He would be horrified to hear that the huge CBS network has gone belly up.
Thank you.
It's no laughing matter. I think that's so sad.
It is very sad.
1777, the first ice cream advertisement. Can that be right? An ice cream advertisement. Philip Lindsay in the New York Gazette advertised ice cream for the first time on this day in 1777. The great Burt Bacharach, American Grammy and Academy Award-winning composer. I'll never fall in love again. Raindrops keep falling on my head. Promises, promises. So many others. I mean, wonderful, wonderful composer. Hal David was his... Hal David wrote the music, and I think Burt Bacharach, or have I got that back to front?
Not sure. I'm not sure about that.
But together, Hal David and Burt Bacharach were just amazing for so long. Anyway, he was born on this day in 1928 in Kansas City, Missouri, and he died just a little while ago, 2023. Perry Como, there's another great American singer, Catch a Falling Star. Great song in the 50s called Round and Round.
Yep.
Find a wheel, and it goes round, round, round.
My dear mother loved Perry Como.
Oh, look, all mothers love Perry Como. He used to be a barber.
Really?
That's what he did for a living. A singing barber. Well, they did have quartets and things like that, didn't they, in America? He dies at 89 on this day in 2001. Elvis Presley appears on Frank Sinatra's television special on this day in 1960. Elvis sings Sinatra's 57 hit, Cy Coleman's hit Witchcraft, and Frank performs Presley's 1956 classic called Love Me Tender, Love Me True. The coronation of King George VI of Great Britain. 1937, Otto Frank, German-born father of Anne Frank, who saw her diaries published. Born in Frankfurt, died 1980, but born 1889 on this day. Tate, I don't know, anyone been to the Tate Modern Art Gallery? The Tate Modern Art Gallery opens in the redesigned Bankside Power Station in London. Yeah. It is now the world's most visited contemporary art museum, but it opened this day 2000. I thought it was a much older thing than that. Anyway, Katharine Hepburn, American actress, socialite as well, Adam's Rib, on Golden Pond, born Hartford, Connecticut, where all the blue bloods were born. 2003 she died, but born 1907. English American actress with the violet eyes, Elizabeth Taylor, 27. Married for the 4th time. Can you imagine being married 4 times by the time you're 27?
She had a wash and wear.
Oh, a wash and wear wedding dress. I got 1,000 sort of Elizabeth Taylor stories.
I bet you.
Oh, yep.
You weren't married to her at any time.
No. My
Not
favourite.
that you can remember.
No, not that I can remember. My favourite one is her ninth husband. And you can use this, you can borrow this. And if ever you feel confused or a little useless, you can say, I feel like Elizabeth Taylor's ninth husband on his wedding night. I know exactly what to do, but I just don't know how to make it interesting.
Went back for seconds.
Oh,
But,
no, it wasn't. This one was Eddie Fisher. The English Shakespearean actor.
yes.
Yes, you know the one I mean.
Alas, poor Yorick, we don't know him well.
Robert Reed, American actor, The Brady Bunch, dies of AIDS at 59, this day in 92. Crouching start used in track and field for the first time by Charles Sherrill of Yale, 1888. The crouching start in athletics. And Jimmy Carter becomes the former US president, arrives in Cuba for a 5-day visit with Fidel Castro, becomes the first president of the United States in or out of office to visit the island since Castro's 59 revolution. That was this day in 2002. We'll leave it there.
Richard Burton.
Richard Burton, yes, who could forget? Who could forget? Thank you so much for being with us, and don't forget to, what do we say, hit subscribe.
Hit subscribe on jeremycordeaux.com.
Oh, yes.
We will bob up every Tuesday and Thursday.
And if you're on Facebook, just Facebook, I'll be here Tuesday and Thursday and Friday live streaming around the dining room table.
And, for radio, simple
radio.
download, free download.
Free download. You'll have to write me a script. Thanks so much. Believe in yourself. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux, and thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion.